Muhammadu Buhari attends United Nations Conference in Qatar. And soldiers battle bandits, kill one and rescue 14 victims in Kaduna State. The WHO urges countries to come clean on COVID-19 origins intel to advance understanding. Hello, this is News Live on Viewer Television. I am Ekioma Eneje. President Muhammadu Buhari will attend the 5th United Nations Conference on the least developed countries in Doha, the capital city of Qatar. According to the president's spokesman, Malam Garba Shehu, in a statement on Saturday in Abuja, the developments followed an invitation by the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Ahmad. The conference, which is from March 5 to 9th under the theme From Potential to Prosperity, holds once in a decade. It provides an opportunity to garner the support of the international community for accelerating sustainable development in the LDCs, as well as assist them make progress towards achieving prosperity. And soldiers attached to troops of Sector 4 of Operation World Punch and Special Forces of the 167th Battalion have killed one bandit after engaging in a fierce battle with the outlaws in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State. The superior firepower of the troops, it was learned, forced the hoodlums to flee in this array. The State Commissioner of Internal Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, who disclosed this on Saturday, however, was silent on when the incident took place. The Commissioner also disclosed that the gallant troops rescued 14 kidnapped victims comprising 9 men and 5 women and destroyed bandits' hideouts. Following the judgment of the Supreme Court ordering that the old Naira notes must remain in circulation till December the 31st, 2023, the ruling All Progressives Congress APC has called on the Central Bank of Nigeria's Governor Godwin Emefiele and the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, to resign their positions over their ignoble role in the matter. This was as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, applauded the ruling of the Apex Court, saying it has validated the position of the lawmakers that the implementation of the policy went contrary to the law establishing the CBN. Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Nigeria has kept mum over the judgment, though there were indications last night in Abuja that it may have set up a team to study the ruling. Meanwhile, Governor Mai Malabuni of Yobe State has approved the deployment of staff from across the 17 local government areas of the state to the Ministry of Environment in order to tackle the menace of climate change in the state. The newly deployed 2,670 staff will serve as coordinators and supervisors in the climate change adaptation project across the state. In the statement made available by the Buni media aide Maman Mohammed, the commissioner said the social organizations will be encouraged to get involved in the project. It was reported that the State Commissioner for Environment, Sidi Karasua, said the coordinators and supervisors will serve in each of the 178 wards of the state for the execution of various activities initiated to contain the challenges of climate change. As part of an effort by the Nigerian Army to ensure corporate social responsibility, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, commissions 3 projects in Al-Kaleri local government area of Bauchi State. While commissioning the project in 3 different communities, the Chief of Staff, however, expressed the need for the people of Bauchi State to continue to live in peace and be tolerant to one another for peace to reign in their various communities. Our Bauchi State correspondent, Awal Hassan, tells us more.
This is Busala community in Al-Aleri local government area of Bauchi State, the population of which is predominantly women and children. The community had one major challenge, which was lack of health facility that will cater for the health needs of especially women and children.
fuskantar matsaloli daban-daban game da rashin asibiti. Ana samun rashin lafiya gaskiya daban-daban. Sannan kuma idan mata ta haifu ko da ta zo haifuwa ya zo da matsala ma, kafin a ce da ɗauke ta a mashin, matsalan hanya ma kafin a ce da ta isa an samu matsala gaskiya.
Ana shan wahala gaskiya sosai, mun je guda ko zuwa rawani jiki na kafin a samu. Kamin je wurin asibitin ma wani sun kan iya rasa rayuwarsu.
However, the Nigerian army has today put a smile on the faces of these people by coming to their aid through construction of primary health care center, as well as donation of medical equipment.
The Nigerian army has over the years taken deliberate steps towards ensuring that it gives back to the society the cooperation it enjoys from them by observing some corporate social responsibilities. This is very much in line with my vision of a professional Nigerian army ready to accomplish assigned missions with a joint environment in defense of Nigeria. The projects being commissioned today are among the several civil-military cooperation-related activities and quick impact projects executed in various parts of the country by the Nigerian Army towards contributing to national development.
This gesture is in line with the mission of the Nigerian Army to reinforce the civil-military cooperation, particularly through identifying with the grassroots communities where the senior military officers hail from.
The chief of army staff does not know this place, but he has a good heart. He knows that we are all from villages, and he has this good heart to ensure that development is carried to all the villages, especially where the senior military officers have hailed from.
Residents of this community, especially the women, could not hide their joys as one of their major problems is solved. Similar gesture was extended to two communities of Gakal and Yamrat, where blocks of 2 classrooms, an office, and a storeroom, as well as donation of books, uniform, and sport items was done.
These projects being commissioned were executed by Nigerian Army for the good people of Bauchi State through one of your illustrious sons, a worthy son of the soil, Major General Jibi Audu.
The Nigerian Chief of Army Staff has urged the people of these communities to live in peace and tolerate one another for peace to reign in their various communities. Awal Hassan, Viewer TV News, Bauchi.
In part 2, after the break, the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, has condemned the election-related violence, especially the killing of 10 law enforcement agents and security personnel, as well as 7 NNPP supporters in Kano. That's in a moment. To stay tuned.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm at the Envoy Hotel, Diplomatic Drive 305, here for a business weekend. It's been an amazing stay. Conference hall and business facilities here are stylish and innovative. The Envoy Hotel is luxury, esoteric, opulence, full ultimate comfort.
Discerning travelers, we are more than just a place to stay. We are an icon of comfort, style, and thoughtful luxury. We are Envoy Hotel.
Welcome back to News Live. A quick recap of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari attends the United Nations Conference in Qatar. And soldiers battle bandits, kill one, rescue 14 victims in Kaduna State. And the World Health Organization urges countries to come clean on COVID-19 origins intel to advance understanding. The National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, has condemned the election-related violence, especially the killing of 10 law enforcement agents and security personnel, as well as 7 NNPP supporters in Kano State. The Executive Secretary, Tony Ojukwu, SAN, also noted the consistent attack on INEC facilities. Attacks by unknown gunmen, political intolerance, and hate speech were specifically recorded during the 2023 Presidential and National Assembly election. Ojukwu made this known in the third monthly review of meeting of mobilizing voters for election move.
And they have to be well done. These rights have to be respected, and if there is a violation of these rights, either through violence or disenfranchisement or vote buying or intimidation.
According to him, from the Human Rights Situation Room revealed that the officers perform their duties devoid of suppression, and intimidation of voters is recorded in past elections.
It becomes very simple for people to violate these rights and get away with them. For us, there must be accountability for the violation of rights. And since our right to vote and be voted for our rights, then there has to be responsibility for the violation of these rights.
The Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 14, Ahmed Abdurrahman, has assured residents of Katsina and Kaduna State of adequate security measures ahead of the March 11 general elections, while urging electorates to maintain decorum and be law-abiding citizens while exercising their civic rights. While on an inspection tour, AIG Ahmed Abdurrahman revealed this at the police headquarters in Kaduna.
Exercise. Those that have been legally registered because they are eligible voters, they should come out without fear or favor to choose their choiced candidates. We have prepared the ground for them to be able to do that without any challenge. We are going to protect them as we protect them from their houses. We are going to continue when they come from their houses on their way on the polling booth area and even after the elections. Finally, the electors should know that they have the right to protect their votes, but how do they protect their votes had been met by the rules and regulations of the elections. That is, they either vote and go home peacefully to wait for the outcome of their exercise, and or keep about 300 meters away and wait.
Reiterating Inspector General of Police Usman Al-Khali's warning, the AIG urges all politicians to exercise caution when using thugs on election day. The Assistant Inspector General of Police also counsel all law enforcement authorities to always act impartially as required by law.
The politician first. Politicians have been appealed to, not once, not twice, to play game and become games people. A game player does not completely put himself out of knowledge that he may win and he may lose. That is how a game player is. So therefore they should talk to their supporters, especially the youth that are following them, that there is no tolerance by the security arrangement of the Nigeria Police Force and all other security agencies, that anybody who comes out to play the gallery by thuggery and causing or inciting disturbance, he will be dealt with according to the law.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) management team has been called into question by the Bauchi State chapter of the All Progressives Congress (APC) regarding the conduct of the 2023 presidential and National Assembly elections held in the state last Saturday. The APC claims that the PDP government compromised security and INEC ad hoc electoral officers and the majority of the polling places throughout the state. However, the All Progressives Congress demanded that the Independent National Electoral Commission chairman immediately transfer the state's administrative secretary and resident electoral commissioner during a press conference held at the party secretariat in Bauchi. Awala Hassan has more on this.
The All Progressive Congress (APC) expressed its lack of confidence in INEC during a press conference with journalists held at the party secretariats regarding the conduct of the 2023 presidential and National Assembly elections. This, according to the party, is because some INEC officials have been used as tools to manipulate the election.
We have witnessed in some local government areas of Bauchi State where the INEC trained ad hoc staff were replaced with certain card-carrying members of the ruling party in Bauchi State, the PDP, who apparently manipulated the election process in favor of their party. Thus, they have, in some polling units, illegally cancelled the elections in APC-controlled areas.
In order to promote transparency and protect the integrity of electoral processes, the APC chairman, who was represented by the party's legal counsel, urged INEC to redistribute some of its officials in the state.
Having lost confidence in the management team of INEC in Bauchi State, we unconditionally demand for immediate redeployment of the resident electoral commissioner for Bauchi State and the administrative secretary of the commission to ensure transparency and safeguard the sanctity of electoral process.
Nonetheless, the party says it rejects efforts by the state's PDP-led administration to undermine security and INEC's ad hoc electoral officers in the majority of polling units throughout the state.
We have seen instances where the PDP government in Bauchi State used its machineries and traditional rulers to threaten the beneficiaries of conditional cash transfer programs by seizing their beneficiary cards until they vote for PDP candidates against their wishes. Otherwise, they risk losing their status as beneficiaries.
APC further requested that INEC take steps to guarantee that all of its ad hoc staff receive enough training prior to the next election on March 11, 2023, in order to prevent reoccurrence of unwarranted and intentional violations. Awal Hassan, Viewer TV News, Bauchi.
The National Assembly candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, representing the Tstv Balewa-Bogoro Federal Constituency, Barrister Kefas Magaji, has expressed dissatisfaction with the results of the just concluded election as declared by INEC, alleging that it was maneuvered in favor of the All Progressives Congress. Barrister Kefas, who states this while addressing journalists in his house, said he therefore rejected the results and will do what it takes within the law provisions to reclaim his victory. Our State correspondent tells us more.
Barely a few days after the announcement of the Presidential and National Assembly result, candidate of the People's Democratic Party PDP representing the Tstv Balewa-Bogoro Federal Constituency, Barrister Kefas Magaji, has rejected the outcome of what INEC has declared free and fair election.
Election was conducted on Saturday. Immediately at the close of polls, counting started, and by late evening, results started turning in. Surprisingly, however, Bununu ward, which is the host of the 3 local governments, their election results was delayed. By the next morning, which was Sunday, results were turned in from Bununu, from Bobdas. Results were turned in from Bogoro. Results were turned in from the other 10 electoral wards of the local government. But Bununu ward, the result was not turned in until at about 6-7 p.m. on Sunday, which was very unusual.
Even though residents of Bauchi celebrate one of the most peaceful conduct in the state during the election, elections like this continue to threaten democracy in Nigeria.
From reports, they collated the results about 5 times. And surprisingly, the collation officer now for 5 times took the results to the collation center for the local government, and which is also the collation center for the 3 local governments. But the results were returned on grounds that the computations were not properly done. There were so many errors, and for the first time, instead of allowing the presiding officers, who are the masters of the election results in their respective polling units, to compute these results, the electoral officer for Tstv Balewa took over the whole exercise. And at the end of the day, they built up the results that was not in consonance with the votes cast in that ward.
Barrister Kefas Magaji rejects the victory of APC candidate Japar Gambo as announced by INEC.
And for me, we're taking up this matter before the election tribunal to make sure we pursue this case through the legitimate means and make sure we reclaim our mandate.
He, however, calls on the people of his constituency not to be discouraged by the result, but to come out in mass during the forthcoming governorship and state assembly election to vote for PDP. Awal Hassan, Viewer TV News, Bauchi.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress Campaign Council has accused the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, of taking advantage of the emotions of Nigerian youth and riding on the wave of religiosity and ethnicity. It said Obi would go down in history as the country's most dangerous and divisive politician. The special advisor on media and communication of the PCC, Dele Alake, stated this at the press conference in Abuja. The president-elect Bola Tinubu was announced the winner of the keenly contested February 25th presidential election on Saturday, but both Atiku and Obi had kicked against the result and vowed to challenge it, with each claiming that the election was fraught with violence and massive rigging. You're still watching News Live and Viewer Television. Business and international news comes to you shortly after the break. Do stay tuned. On business news, the Nigerian Labour Congress has threatened to shut down the country's seaport over the government's refusal to address some of the challenges in the sector. The president of the NLC, Joseph Ajaero, said this while addressing journalists in Apapa during a courtesy visit to the president of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, Adewale Adeyanju. Ajaero charged Adeyanju to give the federal government a 2-week ultimatum to review workers' salaries and address some of the challenges in the sector. According to him, the government should explain whose responsibility it is to review the port concession agreements. Meanwhile, the International Fund for Agricultural Development has stated that Africa needs a cumulative sum of $614 billion by 2030 to address its rising challenge of food insecurity and transform the food system. The Associate Vice President for External Relations and Governance, IFAD, Satu Santala, disclosed this in a report titled Financing Food Systems Resilience in Africa, a Starting Point for Transformation. He called for more finance and investment in Africa's food systems, innovations, and reorient towards fairer outcomes, create jobs, and harness potential of Africa's youth. According to him, in the wake of the war in Ukraine, IFAD launched a crisis response initiative to protect the livelihoods and productive assets of small-scale farmers. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to comply with the judgment of the Supreme Court, which nullified the Naira redesign and cash withdrawal limit policy of the Apex Bank. Gbajabiamila, in a statement issued in relation to the judgment, also hailed Governors Nasiru El-Rufai of Kaduna State, Yahaya Bello of Kogi State, and Bello Matawale of Zamfara State for challenging the federal government and the CBN in court over the policy. The Supreme Court has invalidated the new Naira redesign policy initiated by the federal government on the grounds that it was not done with due consultation and in line with constitutional provisions. The Apex Court ordered that the old 1,000 Naira, 500 Naira, and 200 Naira notes shall continue to be used side by side the newly redesigned notes until December the 31st, 2023. Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Nigeria has approved in principle for Zenith Bank to operate as a financial holding company. In a statement signed by the company secretary, Michael Otu, the bank revealed plans to change its organizational structure. With this change, the organization will have a banking subsidiary along with other subsidiaries in the financial services sector. This move will increase the number of banks operating as financial holding companies in the country. And on the foreign scene, the World Health Organization on Friday urged all countries to reveal what they know about the origins of the COVID-19 following U.S. claims of a Chinese lab leak and furious denials from Beijing. The FBI Director Christopher Wray told News Television on Tuesday that the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation had now assessed the source of COVID-19 pandemic was most likely a potential lab incident in Wuhan. Chinese officials have angrily denied the claim, calling it a smear campaign against Beijing. In 2021, the United Nations Health Agency set up the so-called Scientific Advisory Group for the Origins of Novel Pathogens, identifying critical studies needed in China and elsewhere to test hypotheses on the pandemic's origins.
4. If any country has information about the origins of the pandemic, it's essential for that information to be shared with WHO and the international scientific community, not so as to apportion blame, but to advance our understanding of how this pandemic started, so we can prevent, prepare for, and respond to future epidemics and pandemics.
The United Nations nuclear watchdog chief said on Saturday that he had constructive meetings with the Iranian officials in Tehran after the discovery of uranium particles enriched to near weapons-grade level. The two-day visit by the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, comes as the Vienna-based organization seeks greater cooperation with Iran over its nuclear activities. Grossi arrived in Iran on Friday amid deadlock in negotiations negotiations on reviving a landmark 2015 accord on Iran's nuclear activities, known formally as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action.
By having a constructive discussion like we are having now, and having good agreements like I am sure we are going to have, we are going to be paving the way for important agreements, and this is my hope.
Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has said he was surprised that companies licensed to sell cocaine to pharmacists or hospitals seem to signal Canada would soon allow legal sales of hard drugs to the public. Earlier this week, several companies announced that Canada's Federal Health Agency had allowed them to produce and sell cocaine. The announcement came a month after the province of British Columbia launched an experimental decriminalization process meant to address an opioid overdose crisis that has killed thousands. The province decriminalized the possession but not sale of small amounts of cocaine and other hard drugs under a 3-year pilot project with the aim of removing the stigma associated with drug use that keeps people from seeking help. And thousands of people demonstrated across Greece on Friday to demand justice for at least 57 people killed in the country's worst rail disaster, with some protesters condemning the tragedy as a crime. Police clashed with some of the demonstrators at a handful of protests as public anger grew over the role that government mismanagement played in the tragedy. A passenger train ran for several kilometers on the same track as an incoming freight train before the crash late Tuesday, reportedly after the station master in Larissa, central Greece, failed to reroute one of the trains. It was carrying many students returning from a holiday weekend and at least 9 young people studying at the Aristotle University were among the dead, while another 26 were injured. And that's all News Live. But before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. We brought you news that President Muhammadu Buhari attends United Nations Conference in Doha, Qatar. And soldiers battle bandits, kill 1, rescue 14 victims in Kaduna State. And the World Health Organization urges countries to come clean on COVID-19 origins intel to advance understanding. Many thanks for watching. I am Akioma Ineji. Bye for now.